Hey guys, today I've got a pretty comprehensive and what could be very interesting video on some SENA products. What I want to do is some various combinations of both units and firmwares and throwing in the GP10. I want to see things like what various combinations and settings have an effect on the quality. We're also going to do a real, first one I've ever seen, a real case scenario test on what kind of range you can get out of a pair of 20Ss. Now, SENA says 1.6 miles. To be fair, they say that's absolute best case scenario. They stress that's up to 1.6 miles. Frankly, I have never gotten anything close to that. I have never seen online anyone get close to that. For the most part, people say they get a few hundred feet, quarter mile at best, in real world use. SENA does make it very clear that anything and everything in between the two units will degrade that rating. Cars, elevation, trees, buildings, etc., etc. Bluetooth, by definition, is a very low power, line of sight type of communications protocol. So, frankly, I'm not even sure if anything's going to hit 1.6 miles on a Bluetooth connection, even with best case scenario conditions. But we're gonna get those. We're gonna get best case conditions. I got a spout out here that goes for miles, straight, flat, and unobstructed. And I got a buddy coming, and we're gonna go test that. But first, I'm gonna pair up a SMH10 and a 20S and a GP10. We're gonna do various combinations and see what kind of quality we get as things change with that connection. Let's go. So here's the first setup. What I have is my RF1200 with the 20S, and we'll be testing this with two different firmwares because there is a very distinct difference between what I'm at now, which is 1.6.2, and anything above I will flash to the latest just to see if there's any difference. But the main problem I have above this version is when I pair to the GP10, I get random hiccups and dropouts in my voice recording to the GP10. 1.6.2, I have no problems with that, and obviously that's most important for me doing videos. When I'm out doing videos, it's paired to my phone, which I'm filming with right now. I have Bluetooth off on the phone, so that's out of the equation. I will, at the end of this, turn Bluetooth back on and repair the phone and repeat this just to see if it makes any difference as well. And then I'm connected just to my GP10. Now, if the wife is along with me, she's going to be connected via the SMH10, or if my buddy Threebirds is over, he also has a 10 series. And note, these are in direct pairing mode. Little known fact, there are at least four they tell us about, distinct quality levels of voice, and you can't really control or know exactly which one you're on. The only way to get the best quality is a one-to-one connection. Now, part of the reason I'm doing this test is I want to see if that includes the GP10 in that equation. When it's just me and the GP10, I always have excellent quality with the 20S. That's going to be our baseline. That's going to be the very best we can get. So, if you just have two helmets paired together, and if it is just the wife and I, it sounds great. But if I turn on the GP10 and start recording, and I also have her, does that count as two or does that count as three devices? What happens is, if you go just more than two, you automatically drop down one tier in quality. So if you have, say, three riders connected together, you do not get full quality because you're more than just two devices. So we're going to test this and see if the GP10 is in that equation just with a direct connection. Now, the other two levels are with the 20S, what's called group intercom. You can have direct pairing between devices, and you can also have what's called group intercom. And there are two types of group intercom. One that's good for up to 4 people, and one that's good for up to 8. Both of those drop down another tier in quality, respectively. So, let's have some fun. First, what I'm going to do is I have a Bluetooth speaker here that's paired to one of my iPads, and to avoid any copyright issues, I'm just going to be looping one of my own videos, which has some background music in it. This mic is going to be right on top of the speaker, and it's going to be playing at a normal, loud conversation voice, just like when the wife and I are on the road, just like real world use. Now, what I'm going to do first is a baseline, and I'm going to record just between the helmet and the GP10 at 1.6.2, and we'll hear what my voice sounds like, and then I will stick the speaker in this helmet, just like I'm going to do here, and that will be our baseline for what the music sounds like. Then I'm going to connect the SMH10 into the equation, repeat both of those, and see if anything changes. It should be very obvious in my voice and the music on both sides of this intercom if there are any noticeable changes, at least coming through to the GP10. So here's our best case scenario. It's just you guys on the GP10 and my 20s. I'm in what's called UHD voice mode, which is the highest quality setting on the GP10, and it's a one-to-one connection, so this is as good as it gets. Obviously, we're a foot apart. There should be absolutely zero interference, zero crackling, zero popcorn noise. If there is anything like that, it is a fault in the software itself. Now, I am still at 1.6.2, and I know that that gives me the best possible quality as far as minimizing or mitigating any of that stuff. So now I'm going to pop the helmet off. I'll put the speaker in here just so we can get a baseline on what the music is going to sound like for these tests. And it will always be at the same volume level throughout. So that was the baseline test. Now what I have is the SMH10 in on the equation. I can already hear some popping and crackling through my speakers here, and we're just maybe 3 feet apart. SENA specifically says on their website that, oh, well, when you get that sound, it's because the connection is struggling. You have to get closer. Well, this happens with the wife and I on the same bike. It happens a few feet apart. Sometimes it's fine 1/8 of a mile apart. There's no rhyme or reason. I don't know what to tell you, but it has nothing to do with being out of range in this case. So hopefully it's coming through in the video. I'm hearing it through my speakers. It's just a random pop, 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 tick, pop, 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 whatever. Anyway, let's get on with the test here. You can hear my voice now. It should, if the GP10 is not counting as a connection, sound exactly like the first baseline test. So here's our best case scenario. It's just you guys on the GP10 and my 20s. I'm in what's called UH. So there's that. If there is any difference, well, that's because we've just dropped down to the next tier of quality because we have 3 devices, the GP10, the 20s, and the SMH10. So now we'll go ahead and play the music, and we can hear what the difference, if any, that end of the equation will bring into it. And I'm going to step back a bit here because I don't want the music to be coming through my mic. So I'll step to the back, but everything you hear will be coming through the SMH10 into the intercom. On to the next test. So now the difference is I've connected my phone into the equation, Bluetoothed into my 20s, and this is my normal riding configuration. My phone is always connected to it. I use it for music streaming, for GPS, for phone calls, all the normal stuff. And I did verify it's actually connected. I heard the beep through the 20s. So now we technically have 4 devices. Again, I don't know what SENA is counting as far as their quality steps. What's a real device or not? Is it just intercom headsets? Does that include the GP10? Does that include phones? Because the wife also connects her phone. So technically, while the wife and I are out together on the bike, we have 4 devices in the loop. I don't know. Let's find out. You can hear my voice, so now we can compare this with both the SMH10 and the GP10 plus the phone
to the original baseline. Now we'll go ahead and do the music test for that comparison again. I can't wait to see how all this turns out, but I won't know until I get it into editing. Okay, so that's that. That should answer definitively what the qualifications are for the quality steps as far as pairing a GP10, another intercom, and phones. Oh, you know what? I wanted to do the firmware. I'm going to go ahead and very quickly flash the 20s here to the latest firmware and repeat the test. See if there's any difference.
These are the options I have my 20s set to. So you can see these are the best for quality. So in the middle of editing here, it is very clear what the difference is between our music bass lines. Of course, you guys are going to hear it, but I want you to see it as well. This is the clip with the speaker directly in the 20s. So basically as good as the music is going to get. And you can see where those spikes are at. Basically about the 0 dB level there. And then skipping over to where it's in the SMH10 helmet, you can see that the peaks are about half as loud, at least on the scale. And obviously a distinct difference in sound quality.
Okay, same test, running through it really quick since you guys know what we're doing. We're on the latest firmware. This is just the GP10, no phone, no SMH test. Baseline of my voice. This is as good as it gets, UHD voice mode. Next test. Now we have the GP10 and the SMH10 connected. We're going to go ahead and play the music. Get a baseline for that. Well, compare that against the baseline of the music just to the 20s. Again, on the latest firmware. Now let's add in the phone again. Phone's connected, GP10 is connected, SMH10 is connected. Now we're listening for, again, any changes. I don't know if it's going to be enough time to pick up the random pops and dropouts and whatnot. That comes when I'm speaking to the GP10, but that is a very real thing, and thus why I spend my time down at 1.6.2. But I'm curious if there's any change in the rest of this stuff with the latest firmware. So last test here, let's play the music with all 4 devices in the loop. Now to go edit and see what that guy found, at least for this part of the test. Tomorrow morning, got some buddies coming over. Man, the popcorn is going like absolute crazy right now. And nothing's changed. This is the same spot that I'm standing. But what I'm hearing through here is... It's terrible. It's absolutely horrible. Right about here, pretty quiet. It's still there, but here it's really quiet, except I can hear it if I start to talk. I'll hear pop, pop. This firmware sucks. It really does. And now moving back here, quiet again. It's random. It is random. It has nothing to do with how far apart you are. Nothing is changing around here. There's no interference. It's the firmware. Kid you guys not.
Okay, so as I was looking at those waveforms, I realized one thing, very importantly. We didn't distinctly rule out or tell how much of a part the GP10 is playing in this equation because we didn't fully isolate it. To do that, you guys have to hear what I'm hearing. So far in the tests, you've heard what's coming through the GP10, but that means it's always in the loop at that point. And we want to see if that's a part of it, not just the other way, if the SMH10 or another connection is part of it. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my phone, which I'm recording on right now, to directly record inside the helmet the 20S is on, directly from its speakers. I'm going to play the music through the SMH10, so it'll be coming through and recording just an intercom to intercom connection. Then I'll, in the middle of that, turn on the GP10 so that all three of those will be in the loop. The GP10 you guys won't be hearing, but that's not the point. It'll be in the loop, and we'll see if that changes anything or not. I don't think it will, because I think they're actually talking about intercom to intercom when they say number of connections or number of devices. I don't think they count phones, and I don't think they count the GP10. But you never know. So one other thing I have to do that's a little different, but it's not going to be any problem, is because I don't want the sound coming out of the speaker to be coming into the phone recording, I'm going to put the speaker and the SMH10 just inside the house here. It's a wooden door, it's not metal, there's no interference, but that's just so the mic doesn't pick up anything coming out of the speaker and we get an honest test. Let's go do that. So we've got the SMH10 and the speaker playing, like I said, just behind this wooden door, no interference there. So it's going. We've got the iPhone recording whatever's coming through the speakers here, so you guys are hearing what I hear on the 20S, and yes, I verify there is sound coming through that. So now I'm going to switch the audio over to what's being recorded on the phone, and we'll turn on the GP10 here, let it sync, and see if there's any difference.
Audio pack connected. UHD voice mode. Bluetooth audio pack power off.
Anyway, tomorrow morning, got some buddies coming over. We're going to do the big distance tests between 20S units. Stay tuned. See ya.